Colin, thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure.
Colin, could you please explain us something about the history of PRINCE2? When did it all start? What was the main reason to set up such an endeavor?
Yep. It began in 1975 by a small group of ex-IBM managers. And we were aware at that time, we were project managers, and we were aware that in those days IBM had no project management method at all. Completely nothing. Usually, after 6 months being a project manager, they would send you on a course to learn leadership, motivation, but nothing about project management. So we decided here was an opportunity to make our fortunes. So we created a method called PROMPT2. PROMPT2, ready for this? PROMPT stood for Project, Resource, Organization, Management, Planning, Techniques. Don't ask me. I think they like the name PROMPT, Suicide, etc. But how do we get there? So they discovered these words. In 1979, we persuaded part of the British government that was involved in best practice, and that company was called, or that department was called CCTA, which was Central Computing and Telecommunications Agency. Small part of the Treasury Department in the government. Okay? A lot of things happened then, I will not bother with, but the people who developed, I left the company, and the people who were there after a while sold the company to a Canadian company, LBMS, Learmont and Birkin. They at that time had the rights to SSADM, Structured Systems and Analysis and Design Methods, which was used also by the British government. So they thought, we now have a very powerful time, we have the techniques, we have the management, we'll make a fortune here from the government. But the government wanted to put the method into the public domain, make it free to everyone. Naturally, SSADM, LBMS did not like this idea because they made a lot of money from it. So there was a little money that exchanged hands, and the government took over. That's when the name Prince came out. The original meaning of Prince was PROMPT2 in the CCTA environment. And they said, this is not a title that will attract too many people. So they had a little competition in the civil service, and they came out with what we know now, projects in controlled environments. But it was still an IT method. It had the old structure, it was for big projects, and it had specification, design, development, testing, and many of the users said, but why do we need to find another project management method when our project is not IT? So they said, good question. So they came to me at that time, because I had written another book, which they liked the looks of, and said, okay, will you write a book? We're going to call it PRINCE2. The object of PRINCE2 is we take out all of the IT and we make it a generic project method. So I wrote PRINCE2 for them, and that was in 1989, I think. And at that time, Richard came from APMG and said, would you be the chief examiner? I want you to create some exams and mark them. We might get as many as 100 a year. And within a year, we were getting, in UK, 1,000 a week, which is a slightly different idea. So he was a little surprised by the success. When we began, Prince was a set of 5 manuals in a box, and it was very expensive, cost several £100. And the stationery office wanted to charge the same money for the manual and said, well, this is our income, you know, surely the book will be the same cost. So we managed to persuade them that a training organisation only owned one of these boxes. How much would they sell if every person who came to study the method received a manual? Oh yes, I now understand the volume. Oh, so now we had the new pricing structure for the manual compared to the old box, but a huge amount of money. I was asked if I would write a book, and I said, well, why do you want me to write the book? And they said, well, this box of manuals about Prince has been voted the second worst set of technical manuals ever written. I think the winner was SSADM 3, but it was really bad. It was written by technical authors who did not understand the product. They did not talk to each other. So the book which they put on at the last minute on configuration management had totally different words to the rest of the manuals, totally different glossary of terms, and that one. And it was impossible for anyone to teach themselves how to use the method using this set of manuals. So we wrote the manual, which was hopefully much easier to read, and we went from there in the history. But it was originally IT, and then we took out IT and made it generic.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much.